Voila! Finally done! The most exhausting part of moving mansion was having to rearrange my Birkin collection. But at least my walk-in closet is bigger than my last one, so now I need to pick out the perfect outfit for school tomorrow. First impressions are crucial. This is my favorite fit at the moment, but let's get a second opinion. Mom, Dad, what do you think? Wellstone High's new Queen Bees incoming! Adele, there you are. I bought you a few new items. Ooh, goody! I love surprises. What is this? Mom, are these for the maids? Honey Pie, it appears that well-off residents in this neighborhood have been targeted by a dangerous robbers gang. For your safety, you'd better tone down your outfits, at least until they catch the thieves. I know it's not ideal, but safety first. Come on, Pumpkin, isn't this shirt adorable? No, it's not. I'm not being seen dead in that rag. My parents were probably just exaggerating. Let's see. It seems some girl had her Hermes bag stolen, another her Cartier bracelet, and some guy his Rolex. No, I couldn't let some crooks take my precious babies. The next morning, I trudged downstairs in those awfully bland clothes. Ugh, they were itchy and smelled so bad. Darling, this will only be for a little while. You're our only angel, and we simply couldn't bear it if anything were to happen to you. Fine. Where's my chauffeur? I want to take the Porsche today. At least that can still save my grand entrance. Absolutely not. If you do that, you may as well be wearing a beacon to attract those thieves. I think it's best if you take the bus. The bus? Before I could protest anymore, Mom kissed me on the forehead, burst into tears, and ran off hysterically. Have a wonderful day, sweetie. Great. So much worrying for me. Now I had no choice but to find the bus stop, wherever that was. I wandered around the corner when suddenly a deafening scream came from behind me. Thief! Watch out! I spun around to see a guy running towards me, so I immediately sped off. But soon I felt the thief reach me. Terrified, I crouched down, raised my bag. Here, take it! Don't hurt me! But no reply. I peered up and saw the guy was ahead of me and was restraining a bad guy. Turns out he wasn't the thief, and the actual thief wasn't after me. Oops, how embarrassing. Let's just leave ASAP, but I ended up crashing into some flashy car. Are you okay? It's the guy who just caught the thief. I froze. He's so handsome. I was about to reply when the car door swung open, and this angry rich guy stormed over to me. Are you blind? You scratched my car. Pay up. Leave her alone, Bernie. He's handsome and kind, totally different from that arrogant Bernie guy. Turns out he's called Roy. We all go to the same school. Better still, Roy offered to drive me there in his fancy car. What a shame that I bumped into a hottie looking like a mess. If only he knew the real me, he'd fall for me hard. We're made for each other. We even have matching cars. We arrived at school to a bunch of fangirls waiting to greet Roy. Makes sense. He's handsome and oh so rich. What's not to like? Roy told them I was new here, but they didn't seem so pleased to see me. Roy, it's so sweet you're helping out the less fortunate. Ugh, these peasants! If only they knew the real me. To prove to Roy that I was so much better than those other girls the next day, I snuck my designer clothes to school to get changed. When I spotted Roy, I hurried over to dazzle him, but that annoying fangirl Maya interrupted us again. Nice try, new girl, but your knockoff clothes won't impress anyone. You shouldn't judge someone by their clothes. That's very kind of you, Roy. But we both know that only a Chanel girly like me would be a good match for you. Everyone started to make a fuss, but Roy just shooed them away to leave. Ugh, thanks to those wannabes, I'd missed my chance with him. After class, I changed back into my boring plain clothes, ready for the bus home. What is this tacky fabric? Suddenly, Roy passed by. Cute shirt. I think it suits you much better. There's nothing wrong with dressing down. It brings out one's natural beauty better. Wow, it seems that rich boy Roy wasn't a show-off. What a blessing in disguise this pretending to be poor was. Roy clearly liked me more this way, so I should keep it up. Once, I pushed a bike to the end of the street and waited for Roy to pass by, so I could make out it was broken and ask for a lift. It's definitely not because I don't know how to ride a bike. Over the next few days, I clung to Roy. I told him how I didn't know anyone at school yet, or where anything was, as an excuse to get him to take me to the canteen. But look at the food. Really? Are we supposed to eat this? Oh, we've never gotten to eat stuff like this at home. Looks yummy. Luckily, Roy felt sorry for me even more and just caringly explained the menu. The next day, I brought in my own lunchbox with Roy's favorite, mac and cheese, which obviously was made by my chef, but he doesn't need to know that. He clearly enjoyed it, but then commented, Adele, you shouldn't waste your money and effort on me like that. Please just spend it on yourself instead. Even though he was wealthy, he was so thoughtful of others. How come I'd never thought of things this way? On the weekend, I went to a fair my parents were sponsoring in a nearby town. I wandered off by myself and suddenly spotted a familiar face selling caramel apples with some kids. Oh no, Roy! What was he doing here? He couldn't see me all dressed up like this. Before I could dart away, his eyes locked directly on mine. Roy! Hello? Why are you looking at me so strangely? This dress. It's handmade. And, my mom found these shoes somewhere. Enough about me. Why are you here? Oh, I'm volunteering at an orphanage. The kids, they're the ones that grew these apples. Oh my god, could this guy be any cuter? Even though he's loaded, he's so down to earth and humble, and he wants to make a difference. I really have to learn a lot from him. Later, I took the bus back to town with Roy. We continued chatting even after stepping off the bus, but then this convertible pulled up alongside us. Ugh, it was Bernie and Maya. Oh no, don't let her drag you down like that, baby. Where's your Rolls Royce?
What's this? Isn't this Chanel's archive? Adele, are you?
Yeah, right? This is a fake one. Now, please, leave. I grabbed Roy's arm and pulled him the opposite way.
Adele, are you okay discrediting your image in front of Bernie like that? I mean, he's popular and rich. Everyone wants to impress him.
I'm not that kind of social climber. He's such a conceited, bossy jerk. Unlike you. Roy seemed touched by my words, as he invited me to go to the grape farm with him next weekend. Okay, so I thought Roy had invited me here for some relaxation and fresh air. I didn't expect to be made to carry out tasks. This was probably his way of challenging me, and no chance I was going to fail it. The workers here are immigrants from different countries, but thanks to my extensive traveling, I know quite a bit of foreign languages, enough to ask them to show me what to do, and it just so happens that my parents are obsessed with vintage wines, so I know my Chardonnay from my Cabernet Sauvignon. Oh, these grapes will make a fine Malbec. N'est-ce pas, Pierre? Oh, I taught myself different languages and watched various documentaries to improve my skill set. It's nothing. Later, Roy needed to re-roof the barn, so he climbed up a ladder while I stayed below and passed him tools. But the ladder began to wobble, and he screamed at me to jump back. But instead, I stayed there and held out my arms to catch him.
Are you okay? That was dangerous. Why didn't you step away?
I couldn't watch you get hurt. Also, to have you falling for me would be everything I ever wanted. We rested in the corner, and that's when Roy told me that he liked me.
I think you're one of a kind, but I don't want there to be secrets between us.
I like you too, and that's true. We should have zero secrets. So, I want to come clean. My family's actually rich. Super rich. I'm sorry for not letting you know sooner. What about you, Roy? Do you have any secrets?
Actually, my parents own this farm. Only the workers don't know about this, so please don't tell them.
Aw, humble Roy. He's really the sweetest. He was also very understanding about the reason why I had to hide my true background. Finally, the gang leader of the robberies was caught. Things seemed to be back to normal, and this meant I could publicly go back to being me again. Everyone looked at me with different eyes. Only, Roy didn't seem all that impressed. When I invited him to my favorite restaurant, he told me he didn't like those stuffy places. Plus, he had too much work at the farm. I really wanted to go on a proper date with Roy, but I suppose just being with him was enough. So I agreed to help him out at the farm. As we waited for my chauffeur to pick us up, someone leaped out of a bush and snatched my gold necklace. As I gripped my bare neck in shock, Roy darted after them and grabbed it back. I noticed the robber say something to Roy before he fled. I later asked Roy about it, but he just shrugged it off. The next day at school, a woman in tatty clothes ran in, saying she urgently needed to find her son. When she saw Roy, she rushed towards him. "Oh, here you are! I thought something happened to you! Someone told me you were in trouble!" Everyone began chattering. "Roy, you're wealthy. Why don't you buy your mom some nice clothes?" He looked dumbfounded, then muttered, "I'm not rich. I lied." "What? Why? You always said money didn't matter, but you live in this facade?" Roy avoided my eyes, mumbled out a sorry, then led his mom outside. So this whole time, I didn't know who he truly was? Feeling hurt and deceived, I screamed out that it was over between us. My heart was cracked into two. This was horrible. Then I arrived home to see my parents frantic. Someone had sent them a threatening letter saying, "I will come when you least expect it and take what I want." My parents were terrified that something bad would happen to me, so they hired bodyguards to protect me. The next day, a whole squad showed up, and to my utter shock, amongst them was Roy. "What are you doing here? What's your scheme?" I replied to the advert. "I didn't know it was for you. Please, Adele, I need this job. I could really do with the money." I hated that he'd lied to me, but I couldn't be that heartless. So I agreed that he could be my bodyguard, as long as he knew his limit. Having Roy follow me everywhere really sucked. So when Bernie appeared and asked me out, even though I didn't particularly like the jerk, I agreed to it. It felt good to dress up and be taken to fancy restaurants, and it felt even better to see how raging Roy looked. On my way to the restroom, Roy stopped me.
"Bernie's not who you think he is. Please stay away from him."
I put his words down to jealousy and shrugged him off me. If anything, what he said made me even more determined to get closer to Bernie. So when he suggested I throw a party at my mansion for my 16th birthday and invite all my friends, I immediately agreed. The party was great. It's been a while since I was able to have fun and forget about the recent shenanigan for a moment, thanks to Bernie.
"Wait a minute, Bae. I've prepared a big surprise for you."
The lights went out, and I waited, wondering what it could be. But it's been a little too long. I called out for Bernie, but nothing. I didn't hear from Roy either. Realizing something was wrong, I found my way inside the house and was suddenly grabbed by someone.
"Shh, let me show you something."
He led me to the garage and I caught Bernie trying to start the supercar. Next to him was a bag full of priceless jewelry.
"That was fast, but I didn't come here alone."
"Yeah, but your teammates are already taken care of." Then Roy opened the garage door and the cops rushed in to arrest Bernie. Outside, I saw a couple of other robbers being led away in handcuffs.
"You again? You can act all high and mighty all you want, but you're no different from me."
It turns out, even after the leader was caught, the robbers gang was still alive and well, and Bernie was a member. He only pretended to be rich to fool his victims and provide intel to the gang. Knowing my true background, he's the one who stole my necklace. But the mission failed because Roy stopped him. As revenge, Bernie leaked information about Roy's family.
"I should have exposed your rich kid facade sooner. I let you off several times out of respect for our close friendship, but you still wouldn't leave me alone."
"Close friend? Who falsely accused me of theft then?" As he was being led away, I suddenly remembered something. What about the letter? Why did you do such a stupid, unnecessary thing? Bernie looked confused and insisted he didn't have time to write insignificant things like letters.
"It was me. I wrote it. I knew Bernie wouldn't stop trying to steal from you, and I didn't want you to get hurt, so I sent the warning letter for your family to take cover."
Roy walked off, but I went after him. What about some accusation between you and Bernie? Is it the reason why you have to live a fake life? Roy explained he and Bernie used to be close friends. Roy was always poor when Bernie's family was a little better off. Roy discovered that Bernie was involved in some petty thefts, so Roy tried to make him stop, but he only took revenge by accusing Roy. Although there was no specific evidence, due to his poor family background, people always assumed that he'd done it. So when Roy transferred schools, he decided to pretend to be rich, so no one falsely accused him again. Oh, my poor Roy. Ugh, why is finding my balance so tricky? Ouch! Roy helped me up and checked I wasn't hurt.
"You don't have to do this. Just live your life as comfortably as before."
"Nope, I want to do this. This way I can cycle to see you whenever I want. A flashy car or fancy outfit doesn't change my value as a person, but working with you felt good. And you know what? Even though you're not as well dressed as when we first met, I still like you a lot."